World leaders are congratulating President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, with many calling the two's defeat of President Donald Trump a historic moment, and one they hope will lead to strengthened relations with the U.S. going forward. Fiji Prime Minister Frank Bainimarama appeared to be first to acknowledge Biden's victory, tweeting a congratulations message hours before any major news networks had called the race for Biden. The Associated Press, along with other major news networks, called the race for Biden late Saturday morning, after Biden's projected win in Pennsylvania put him over the 270 electoral votes needed to become President of the United States. Trump has regularly criticized leaders of longtime Western allies, with observers noting that he's appeared to take a more welcoming approach to strongman dictators of authoritarian states. Biden has promised to reverse course and strengthen relations with the traditional Western allies. Trump falsely claimed Saturday morning that he had actually won the election, saying he did so, by a lot. The Trump campaign is taking legal action in several states and has vowed to continue challenging the election results. Joe Biden wins presidency after recapturing Rust Belt states. Forbes. Trump said he's cozier with tougher and meaner dictators, calls them smarter than Biden. Forbes. Trump election far from over, promising legal battle. Forbes.
Congratulations to President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. Kitty Logan has the story from London.
Hi, John. So after those days of waiting, there was a swift response from international leaders as they sent their congratulations, mostly on social media. Here in the UK, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson sent his congratulations via Twitter, saying, quote, "The US is our most important ally, and I look forward to working closely together on shared priorities from climate change to trade and security." The UK is hoping for a future trade deal with the US after Brexit, but Biden is not a Brexit supporter, so there are questions about how that relationship may change. Aside from Britain, though, other European leaders had a fairly tense relationship with President Biden at times, disagreeing over a number of issues, including the climate change agreement. Most welcomed a new administration in the White House. German Chancellor Angela Merkel said on Saturday, quote, "I look forward to future cooperation with President Biden. Our transatlantic relationship is irreplaceable if we are able to master the great challenges of our time." French President Emmanuel Macron said, quote, "The Americans have chosen their president. Congratulations, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. We have a lot to do to overcome today's challenges. Let's work together." There were, of course, also differences between the Trump administration and NATO. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg didn't hide those tensions as he congratulated Joe Biden, saying, quote, "I warmly welcome the election of Joe Biden as the next president."
Congratulate him on his support. Messages of support from, well, let's look at the list here. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson says, congratulations to Joe Biden on his election as President of the US and to Kamala Harris on her historic achievement. The US is our most important ally, and I look forward to working closely together on our shared priorities from climate change to trade and security. Another member of the Five Eyes intelligence sharing group with Australia and New Zealand, this is the Canadian Prime Minister now, Justin Trudeau, has released a statement on behalf of the Government of Canada. "I congratulate Joe Biden and Kamala Harris on their election as the next President and Vice President of the USA. Canada and the United States enjoy an extraordinary relationship and one that is unique on the world stage. I look forward to working with President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Harris, their administration, and the US Congress as we tackle the world's greatest challenges together." So from two members of the Five Eyes intelligence framework to India, the largest democracy in the world, Narendra Modi tweeted, "Congratulations, Joe Biden, on your spectacular victory. As the VP, your contribution to strengthening Indo-US relations was critical and invaluable. I look forward to working closely together once again to take India-US relations to greater heights." And from New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, "Congratulations, President-elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris on your victory in the US presidential election. With so many issues facing the international community, your message of unity is one we share. New Zealand looks forward to working with you both." Italy's Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte says congratulations to the American people and institutions for an outstanding turnout of democratic vitality. We are ready to work with the President-elect Joe Biden to make the transatlantic relationship strong.
Leaders have already congratulated Joe Biden. With more on reaction from around the globe, let's go to ABC's Julia McFarlane in London. Julia, good morning.
Good morning, where the world looks to America for leadership and to lead by example. And President Trump took his vision of America first and with it really altered relationships with allies and adversaries alike. And so it's really no surprise that everyone abroad has been glued to this nail-biter of an election. But the tone of overseas is largely summed up by the British tabloid The Mirror, which says it is now time to heal. France's President Macron, whose relationship with President Trump has really deteriorated over the last couple of years, said the American people have chosen their president. Congratulations, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. We have a lot to do to overcome today's challenges. Let's work together. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulating Joe Biden on his victory and also paying tribute to Kamala Harris's Indian roots, tweeting, "Your success is path-breaking and a matter of intense pride, not just for your chitties, but for all Indian Americans." Chitties, that's a Tamil word for aunties that Harris used herself in her speech as she accepted the Democratic nomination for the vice presidency. Meanwhile, though some leaders have been a little quiet, Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro, he's been dubbed as the Trump of Latin America, staying silent, as has so far Russian President Vladimir Putin and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. Meanwhile, the President of Mexico says he won't congratulate Joe Biden until President Trump's legal challenges are resolved.
America has decided and entrusted its future to one man.
The news of former Vice President Joe Biden's victory was quickly welcomed around the world. Some of America's strongest allies are celebrating the win, hoping Biden's administration will be a fresh start.
Great buzz around. So finally Joe Biden will be the president.
Several world leaders seem optimistic that Biden will increase US involvement in international climate change efforts. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson sent his congratulations via Twitter, saying, quote, "The US is our most important ally, and I look forward to working closely together on shared priorities from climate change to trade and security." Biden has promised to rejoin the Paris Climate Agreement, which aims to limit global warming. The Trump administration officially dropped out of the accord on Wednesday.
One of the first things that Biden will do is to try to stop all the recent laws Trump tried to pass recently. Rejoining the Paris Agreement is already a good thing for the planet. It's worth it, if only for this.
Others, though, are cautious about what to expect from a new administration.
Maybe he won't turn everything around, but maybe he can work towards a more normal relationship with Europe and Germany, with NATO. That I believe he'll do.
Joe Biden says he's also prepared to rejoin the Iran nuclear deal, which the US withdrew from in 2018. In London, Kitty Logan, Fox News.
I congratulate President-elect Biden very much on his victory, and of course I congratulate Kamala Harris on being the first female vice president, as she will become in the history of the United States.
I congratulate him and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris on their victory.
אני רוצה לפתוח בברכות לג'ו ביידן ולקמלה האריס. יש לי קשר אישי ארוך וחם עם ג'ו ביידן, קרוב ל-40 שנה.
I send my blessing and the blessing of all the people in Israel to our friend Joe Biden.
World leaders congratulated Democrat Joe Biden and his running mate Kamala Harris on their presidential election victory on Saturday. On Twitter, a stream of tweets from France's Emmanuel Macron to UK's Boris Johnson congratulated Biden and Harris. And Paris's mayor stated a jubilant "Welcome back, America," before pointing to the Paris Agreement and the need to work together on the climate emergency. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi stressed closer relations, hoping to take India-US relations to, quote, greater heights. He also singled out Harris, whose mother emigrated from India, becoming the first woman, first black woman, and first Asian American as vice president. While others, including Pakistan's Imran Khan, emphasised democracy and working for peace.
Arab leaders also congratulated Joe Biden on his election victory, as well as Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu. Trump had cozy relationships with what critics say are increasingly authoritarian leaders in countries such as Saudi Arabia, Egypt and Turkey. But Biden has promised to take a tough line on human rights. Meanwhile, in neighbouring Mexico, President Andrés Manuel López Obrador said he wouldn't congratulate Biden until legal challenges are concluded, in an apparent bid to avoid friction with Washington during the transition. His reluctance stood in contrast to Latin American leaders, including Argentina's President Alberto Fernández, who highlighted the record voter turnout, to Colombia's President Iván Duque, adding he hoped to work together with Biden's administration to strengthen security and combating transnational crime.
Every U.S. election is watched closely around the world. A Joe Biden presidency could mark a significant shift in geopolitics. Tonight, Redmond Shannon takes a look at how the result is being received around the globe.
Not a protest, but a celebration in the ancestral Indian village of Vice President-elect Kamala Harris.
I knew she was going to win. So I was not tense, except I wanted the final results to come in so that I can go and sleep.
After several days of uncertainty, Joe Biden emerges victorious as the 46th president-elect.
Polls suggested a preference for the Biden-Harris ticket across much of the world, particularly in Europe,
US-Präsident Biden und sein Vize Harris.
where there's a feeling among some that Biden had one undeniable quality.
He was an uninspiring candidate, but his biggest inspiration was he wasn't Donald Trump.
Among the world's leaders tweeting their congratulations to Joe Biden is British Prime Minister and friend and ally of Donald Trump, Boris Johnson. The outgoing US president has been a big fan of Brexit, and Johnson had been pinning his hopes on Trump's promise of a post-Brexit free trade agreement.
But Biden, an Irish-American, has insisted there will be no free trade deal if Brexit results in the return of a hard border in Ireland. Period.
We've even said that we would never put any infrastructure at the border between the north and the south. And of course, if the EU do the same, this issue is resolved.
The Biden presidency may change the dynamics of the UK-EU negotiations that are coming to a head this month.
I am confident a deal can still be done.
Another friend of Trump's is Israeli leader Benjamin Netanyahu, partly because Trump moved the US embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem and withdrew the US from the Iran nuclear deal. Netanyahu called Biden a friend of Israel Sunday, despite a promise from Biden that he will bring the US back into the deal. In a tweet, Iran's foreign minister encouraged Biden and Harris to abandon the disastrous, lawless bullying of the outgoing regime. Washington's other greatest adversaries, Russia and China, have yet to formally acknowledge Biden's win. Redmond Shannon, Global News, London.